Sostenes. This is Brother Victor Morales. I have been working on a couple of, excuse me, Father, a couple of clocks, and I'm going to use this vintage looking paper to cover them, and I need to cut them in strips. So what I did was I got a compass to the size that I needed it, and I'm just going to take that and go down the edge, and that's the width of the paper that I need. So I'm just going to do that until I get as many strips as I need, and they'll be even and they'll be exactly the size that I need, just with a simple little compass. I'm using my laptop or my tablet, and this camera is something like, I think it's 18 megapixels, and it's a really good camera. I used it for my tamales when I was making my tamales. I need to cut my nails. Look at that. They're like a woman's nails right now. But in any case, I used it for when I was making my tamales, and everything in the foreground and the background and everything in between is clear. I've never had a camera like this before. Usually the foreground is clear and the background is blurry. But this camera is amazing. In any case, God bless you. Now to do the rest of the paper in these strips, you need to use a ruler and put it at the line, and then use the ruler's edge to keep the line straight. And you go all the way down. So the light portion here. That's how I do everything and get it exact, and use the whole paper instead of just the edges. So you just put the ruler on the previous line you created, and use the compass on the edge of the ruler to keep it straight. Otherwise it will be wavering all over the place. Kind of moved a little bit, but you know, it's not really that big of a deal. And then you got equal lines to cut out and to use. God bless you. Then to cut the paper, we just put the ruler on the line and cut it with an X-Acto knife. All the way down. And there we have it. I need 8 of these strips, and then I'll take the remainder of the paper and I'll burn that, cut it into small squares, and then burn the edges so that I could decoupage, make my own little design and texture, and decoupage excuse me, this wood. I'm back. In the context of me experimenting for textures and decorations for my clocks, I started with these leaves that I had soaked in that gel, the glycerin gel, and not restored them, but preserved them. And I mean, they look beautiful. So I'm just experimenting with placing them onto the wood. This is another watch face, another clock face, and I just placed them on there with good old Mod Podge. But you have to put them in glycerin first to preserve them. Otherwise, the Mod Podge will change the leaves' colors. They'll start browning. It's very ugly, but you can see it's done nothing to the color of these leaves, and there's Mod Podge sticking them together, and then there's Mod Podge over them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some gold, cover these open spaces with gold. And I was also experimenting with putting an inlay into my clocks, and that's a copper inlay. You could see that. Isn't that wonderful? All I did was I scored the wood, and then I got some wire and placed it in there with some wood glue, and that's going to be, I'm going to use this as a feature in one of my future clocks. But I do a lot of experimentation while I'm creating, so that I have an idea of where I'm going. God bless you. And this antique looking music is going to be the backside of my clock face. My clock is going to go here, something like this. And then the back on the inside, it's going to have the musical sheet. And it's antique looking, but they used to do that in antique days, in like the early 1900s. They would line the inside with like sheet music or newspapers or different types of paper. And that's what I'm trying to accomplish here, is to make it look antique even on the inside of the pieces that I'm creating, the clocks that I'm creating. So anyways, this is Brother Victor Morales. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Walk in faith. Jesus Christ loves you. He died so that you could be his. God bless you.